Hey everybody, and welcome along to this week's edition of the Irish Golfer Podcast. Peter Finnan here, and we've a bit of an outside broadcast this week where we are up at Seapoint for the Flogas Irish Amateur. Delighted to be joined by John Rooney from Flogas. John, how are you?
I'm pretty good, Peter. Good to be here.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Lovely day.
It is a gorgeous day out, actually, isn't it?
Perfect for golf. Not great for gas volumes, but we'll take it for this week. Yeah.
No, well, I suppose we have to start this podcast off with as a thank you that you guys get involved in golf on so many levels. You sponsor our own podcast as well, so quick thanks at the start of that.
Sure, no, it works well.
You get involved in so many different things, like I suppose on the marketing side, the gas part about Flogas is...
the
gas part.
Yeah, very good. You like it then?
It is. No, it is. It's really good. And you guys are heavily involved then in the Irish Amateur as well, the Flogas Irish Amateur. So how, I suppose, to go back to how that came about, that overall sponsorship and why golf, there's two deep areas, I suppose.
Yeah. God, I can remember. I think our first involvement with golf, I joined Flogas in 2014, and I have a background in marketing, but I came in as MD, and I'd had good experience with golf sponsorships previously with Kellogg's, for example. We sponsored Gary Murphy and Peter, Larry, Paul McGinley, and the likes of those on tour. So I'd had good experience, and the marketing team just sort of presented a few of their initiatives, and one of them was sponsoring the Irish Junior Open Series up north, which has now become an All-Ireland event. And I thought it was quite an interesting involvement, and the reason they explained was that most of our competitors were involved with rugby, soccer, GAA. So what's the next biggest sport in Ireland? It's golf. And I said, yeah, that's good, but geez, you're not, Junior Open Series, maybe we could do a bit more than that. So within 6 months, I'd know Bo Martin over the years, and he, through Gary really, and he got in touch because his nephew Cormac Sharvin was turning pro and he was looking for a bit of support. So I said, look, should we do something there? So we sponsored Cormac. And then we thought, well, look, what about at an amateur level? And then a fella, Nick Mullen, was, I think at the time, might have been working with ISM.
Yeah.
And he was approached by the GOI as they were to try and find a sponsor. So he reached out. I think he had seen our involvement with Cormac and just said, can meet for lunch. So he said, look, this flagship event's coming up, the Irish Amateur Open, and we're looking for a sponsor. So ironically, my experience of golf would be if you get in as a official energy partner or bread partner or soup partner, whatever products you're selling, that's the best way to maybe leverage it and try and sort of get some sales or get some awareness out of it. So I did say to him, I said, look, I'm not too pushed about sponsoring an event which might only last a week. Is there anything else? Like, is there an official energy partner status that we could get? So anyway, we had lunch and he came back a few days later and said, well, look, they can put the two together, sponsor their flagship event, become official energy partner. We'll do it for a couple of years, see how it goes, and then maybe we'll add other events. And of course, here we are, 9 years later, we now have the Irish ladies, the Irish boys, the Irish girls. We are still official energy partner. And we've expanded a bit on our support for touring pros as well. So I suppose you could say we've now really fully immersed ourselves in the sport of golf, and it's worked really well for us. It's increased our awareness, our brand awareness amongst the golfing community. What we find also is golf's one of these sports. It's like a community, and I found the same with cricket many years ago in a previous role, that people who play cricket or support cricket, they really sort of rally around brands that support their sport. And I think golf is actually the same. There's something about golfers, and when you meet a fellow golfer, you connect and you talk. Where do you play? What do you play off? What driver do you use? What ball do you use? And there is something that when we're talking in our advertising or in our direct communications to golfers, they just seem to recognize that we're a brand just like any other brands trying to sell electricity, but we're supporting their sport, their community, and they, in many cases, they just turn around and say, well, do you know what, I'll switch to Flogas, because they look on Bonkers or they look on other websites and they find actually prices are all thereabouts. We're all buying gas and electricity off the same grid at pretty much the same price. So it's so it just gives you that point of difference. So it's, like I say, it has worked well for us. We're very happy to support golf, but we get good support back from golfers and golf community.
Yeah, and it's like you've hit on so many levels there. Like, you're so deeply involved, not just with this event, but like you say, with supporting. Like, we're going to have Stuart Grehan here with us in a few minutes. So he's transitioned back from the pro game to the amateur game. You were supporting so many of those type players. that you see your logo in a lot of places and a lot of golfer sleeves and stuff like that. Alex Maguire as well, I think, was.
There's quite a few. Connor Purcell, and a few of the girls as well, Olivia Mahaffey, Lauren Walsh.
So that wasn't always the plan. It's just you got involved in golf and then it was like you're adding to it. So it obviously is working. Like my next question, I suppose, would be, there's so many people listening that aren't like involved with Flogas or don't look at it, and that's like, what would be your call to action to those people as to why?
Yeah, well, first of all, apart from our support for golf, we do see ourselves as a kind of a new challenger brand in the whole energy space. I mean, historically, we were known for LPG, cylinders and off-grid energy and tanks. But over the last 5 years in particular, we got into electricity. And what we found, maybe our name doesn't help us, but people just don't associate us with electricity.
The marketing campaign does.
Exactly. But the new ad campaign is designed to try and address that. But also, you've got to back it up with good prices, good service as well. Good billing accuracy is an important thing. Also, that when customers come out of contract, that they will get a letter to say, look, you're coming out of contract, don't forget to re-sign with us. Actually, this year now, we're offering 2 tickets to Emerald Park, for example, for anyone who re-signs or indeed signs with us for the first time. So there's an added incentive. You don't have to be just a golfer to avail of that offer. So that's there. So we're trying to just offer a good customer experience to our customers. We'd like to hold on to them for many years. We don't really see it as just 1 year and then we lose them again. And currently we've about 2% of the market share of 2% market share of the electricity residential market. We want to get that up to 8 or 10. So we know we have to do more than just sponsorship or advertising. We've got to offer a good product, good service, and just be honest and true with our customers, and and raise prices when we have to, because we just buy off the grid, but equally reduce them whenever we can, as quickly as we can. So that's our promise, really, and hopefully customers will give us a chance, really, and golfers in particular.
No, it's great. I always, from any time I talk to you, you're a very enthusiastic golfer yourself, and it's nice it's nice when golf people build their way into certain roles and then give back to the game in a way that some people can't. So
yeah, true. But we're owned by a PLC company called DCC, and they're listed on the London Stock Exchange. So I can't allow a situation where they think, oh, the MD has gone off on one of his things, No,
there's a return out of it as well.
There is a return on investment. We now have well over 200 golf clubs around the country who are customers of Flogas. Started with maybe 60 on LPG, but now more and more of them have signed up to. Then first was natural gas, then electricity, and then more recently solar panels. That's another thing we do, and a lot of businesses are looking at net zero. The clubs I'm in, Grange, Portmarnock, have net zero by 2030 ambitions. So we as a business are also offering that. And when we sign up 200 clubs as customers, that does deliver a payback on some of the investment that we make, and it also helps the awareness as well.
You're about to brush the cobwebs off and go out onto the golf course here and play a bit of golf today as well.
We have a little Am event today, which is always good. Bring a few customers, a few journalists, I think Ronan's going to be playing with me as well, so that should be fun on the course. And it's a nice little event, actually. We have a Pro-Am later in the month, actually, which is our more with just the club professionals with the Irish region of the PGA. And again, it's just another example of an event that works really well for our customers. We're trying to, these are more larger, industrial, commercial customers, but you could take them to a rugby match or a soccer match, but, they get those invites from everyone, but they don't often get an opportunity to come out, play 4 rounds with a PGA qualified professional in a nice setting. This year it's Knightsbrook, last year was Wooden Bridge. We moved around to courses that are customers, and they just really value it. And every year, we get 90% acceptance rate, whereas if you're inviting them to maybe a football match or something, they might not accept because they're getting 3 or 4 other invites. So again, I just find once you identify your customers' interests off, out of work, if you can just tap into that, they really appreciate it. And they love, a day out at a Pro-Am. So that's coming up later on. Whereas the Am today is probably just a smaller group, more journalists and friends of Flogas, we call them. Yeah. So that's the plan today.
We're really looking forward. I know Ronan's really looking forward to getting out here. I think he's playing with yourself, Matt McLean, and Sharon from Talk Golf Ireland as well.
Right. So there'll be a lot of talk of golf for sure. It'll be a bit of
fun. No, well, listen, we're going to bring in 2 of your brand ambassadors for a further chat to preview the event and go deeper into what's ahead this week. But we just thought given all you give, supporting us and supporting golf in general, that we'd have a nice little separate piece with you at the start, just to chat about where Flogas are at, why they're involved, and where we're going into the future. So plenty of room for growth. All right. Thanks, John.
Thanks, Peter.
Right, so we're back. We've doubled the cast, John. We're joined by a few more. So
some proper golfers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, one proper golfer anyway.
That's Stuart.
So we've joined by Flogas brand ambassador Stuart Grehan and Ronan, who needs no introduction.
Good to be back on the A team.
It is good to be back. It's good to be back. Stuart, back from customs. Oh, you heard that one? Yeah. Don't mention the war. Stuart, big week. You're here. It's the closest event to home you can get.
Literally, 90-second drive this morning, so all good. Huge week. Looking forward to it. Weather's good. Game feels pretty good, so I'm excited.
What, I suppose, we haven't spoke to you properly, Ronan's spoken to you a good bit, we've spoken bits, but what is the last, say, 2 months of really ramping up, getting into a golf season been like for you?
Yeah, pretty good, I suppose I only got my status back at the start of last month, only about 4 or 5 weeks, and it's been pretty good so far. I had a nice win down in Rosslare and got to the semis of the West, and I had a chance to win last week as well, so game feels pretty good. It's obviously nice being in my own bed this week, so that's a huge positive. But I'm looking forward to this week, and just excited to get going.
The golf course looks in unbelievable condition out there as well. I'm sure you've been up having an old sneaky 9 holes a few of the evenings over the last while.
Yeah. My wife's parents live on the course there, so I know this course just as well as Baltray next door and home. So I walk Rico here quite a bit as well, so I feel like I know every blade of grass out here.
Just before we'll get the lads in now in a minute, but you mentioned the West there. There was a spotlight on you going into that event. I don't know, did you feel like you had a bit of a target on your back or something like that going into it, for want of a better way of putting it?
I don't think so. Maybe it felt a little bit like that, I guess, from the days or towards the end of it, but I didn't really feel too much of a spotlight, I guess.
But the pressure itself, it was
okay. Yeah,
you enjoyed it.
I enjoyed that. Yeah. I like to think I'm one of the best players out here. I think everyone, they need to think that, I guess. But I felt like I am one of the better players out here. So obviously coming back to the amateur scene, I need to feel like I need to prove myself a bit more again. So I suppose that was a bit of an element as well.
And what did you take away from that tournament? It was obviously your first championship back from stepping back in. What did you mentally take away from that? I suppose that my game is still good enough to compete in the amateur scene. Match play, probably need to get a little bit more match play sharp. I wasn't used to kind of playing match play. It's been, I don't know how many years, 7-8 years since I played match play. So that was probably the biggest takeaway, just maybe changing the game plan, about maybe playing guys one-on-one instead of playing a golf course as such. So that was probably the biggest takeaway, actually. One match that really stuck out was the Eddie McCormack game for me. For a veteran like that to go toe-to-toe with you, it's not too often you get that mano-a-mano, and someone like that really had the bit between his teeth as well, and not had a point to prove, but really had a good cut at you, and he played some match.
Yeah, I played really well, actually. I think I got 3 up with 4 to play, and to be honest, I took my foot off the gas a little bit, and he kind of fed off that. So that was actually another takeaway. Like, I just didn't really kind of, take the initiative when I could have, and he made a good few pars, and he birdied 18 from like 30 feet, and I had a 6-footer then to birdie to half the hole to win, but unfortunately I missed. But luckily I got it done now 19. I had a few 19s that week, so he's a great competitor, and I think he's over 50 now. My God, he must be cleaning up on the seniors.
When someone like that gives you a solid handshake at the end of the round, when you're after beating him, tells you you'll have to do a bit better than that.
Yeah, that's certainly motivation. Yeah, I think I did step up a little bit from that game, but it was a nice comment.
All right, we let the lads in now. I'm hogging the airwaves here.
Just what do you make of the standard of the amateur scene, Stu, just from the couple of tournaments you've played since you come back, compared to maybe when you would have left in 2016, 2017?
I still think it's pretty similar, to be honest. I know the world ranking system's a bit skewed towards the US now, so it's very hard for guys to get up the rankings, but I still think the standard's good. You still got to shoot in the 60s to win events. I know some match plays are different, but it was very hard to see scores in the West. I don't know if you're down there the Friday and Saturday, but like, I mean, it was pretty much impossible to kind of shoot in the 60s those days. But like other tournaments in Cork, like it was quite tricky, and I think 6 under won the event. It was very breezy, and then obviously Ross Laird that played. I know it's only a scratch cup, but there's probably 20 or 30 guys under par, so I still think it's pretty strong, yeah.
And just how much you enjoy in playing regular golf again? Like, do you feel like you've got more reps under your belt than you would have had in your last maybe couple of years on tour?
Yeah, no, I love playing competition. I really missed it, to be honest. In terms of more reps, probably not. I would have probably been nearly halfway through a season at this stage if I was professional. But no, look, I love just competing, and I'm glad to get back into it now, to be honest. That 6-month layoff was quite tough.
You've had a couple of close shaves, obviously the West we touched on, and then the Munster Stroke play last weekend. What do you take from those performances, and like what do you think maybe you need to improve on to maybe take that next step this week?
Yeah, I played lovely. Both tournaments. Ball striking is probably just as good as it ever has been. My putting probably let me down in both events, if I was being honest, quite considerably. So a little bit on that, a little bit on my mindset, just maybe take the pressure off myself a little bit as well. So just a couple of little things here or there I think can make a big difference. I felt like I let Munster probably slip away, if I'm being honest. But in fairness to John, he shot 2 great scores the last day. So, no, look, just trying to keep building and moving on,
And what would a win here, pretty much a home event, 90-second drive, you said, what would winning here mean to you personally?
You can't be asking future questions. Let the man be in his moment.
Oh, it mean a lot, yeah. I mean, I've been up here, 5 years now. I've played the course so many times. It feels like I'm a member here nearly, The members are very good to me, and obviously being a Flogas event as well, it'd be good. But yeah, it'd mean a lot. It's obviously the biggest event we have in Ireland every year, so yeah, I don't want to go too much, but it would mean a lot to me, yeah.
Is your challenge this week, though, is it more of a mental challenge for you this week than a technical one, given your familiarity with the course, how to navigate it, and then obviously it's 72-hole stroke play as well?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think you nailed it there. It's just pretty much kind of staying calm, composed, not getting too far ahead of myself, not caring too much, because that obviously affects performance as well. So I'm just trying to manage all that before tomorrow. Like, I know the course so well and playing well. So yeah, it's just about just kind of staying in the moment and not getting too carried away. And
manage your own expectations, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably the biggest or the hardest thing for me to do. So I'll have to really keep an eye on that now over the next few days. But yeah.
How do you go about that?
I have a few things in my notebook that I like to read every few holes, and just kind of keeps me grounded. And I'm not going to share them now, but it's just one of the personal little things.
You could go the watch Bridgerton route if you want.
Yeah, no, not quite that, but just little things just to kind of keep me in the even keel as such.
Stepping away from back into, we obviously have John here from Flogas as well. They were big supporters of you in the pro game. It's great to see you still have the logo on, stepping back into the amateur game as well, and to be able to be supported by. But how big of, you've obviously been through it all on the pro level, and like we all know how expensive that can be, and the support that they've given you over the last couple of years, and to be able to come back here and hopefully repay that, teeing it up in their event as well. It's a nice thing to be able to do.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to do what I did without the support of Flogas and other companies that have helped me in the past. Like, it's impossible it's impossible to be a professional golfer without the support. So I would say thanks very much for that. No. But also, being here and representing Flogas this week, and obviously being a Flogas event, being in Seapoint, there's a lot of things that kind of stack up to be incredible to get the job done this week. So I did notice that last year. If I was thinking about turning back amateur, obviously the Irish Am was coming here and Flogas being a sponsor, so it was in the back of my mind for a while.
That's why I brought up the expectation side of things, because obviously there's a lot of a bit like expectation, not for, I know you probably don't listen to outside expectations like us talking waffle every week or stuff like that, but like in your own head and in your own body, and when you go home to Carla later on and you're behind closed doors, like it is a lot to take in coming back to it. Like it's a big event.
Absolutely, yeah, it's a huge event. Yeah, like for Irish amateur golf, it's the biggest event. You know, it opens so many doors if you can get the job done. But I suppose, yeah, it's hard to ignore all that sort of stuff. I've actually deleted my social media about 3 or 4 months ago now, so that's actually really helped. Not that I don't want to see it, but it's another distraction kind of gone. So I think that's helped. But yeah, as you say, it's a massive event. It is hard to ignore the other noise because like friends text you and how you feeling this week, all that sort of stuff, and you know you got coaches, you got family, so yeah, these are all just outside distractions and noise, but they're also trying to be supportive as well. So you have to, you know, be appreciative of that too. You know.
And do you still find yourself in the routines of? I know you're a working man now, but of a professional golfer, when you come to a week like this, because it's still so fresh in your mind what you were doing just 6 months ago, that you know how to prep for 72 holes, stroke play, probably a little bit better than some of the guys in the field, that you know the pace of play, you know what not to do early in the week or how to manage your own energy, your body, and what the toll it's going to take across the week.
100%, yeah. I think I take all that experience of playing professionally and, you know, the prep. Yeah, I feel like I'm really good at practicing now and, you know, doing the course out, pins, wins, like all that sort of stuff. And yeah, I enjoy 72 hole stroke play. I think it's the best player always wins. But yeah, look, I did okay as a pro as well. I was able to get a couple of wins. So hopefully, you know, that sort of experience kind of, you know, stands to me this week and for the year ahead and next year. So
I was kind of curious, Stuart. You know, I still remember the day you sent me and John, our marketing manager, the email to say, lads, I've had a long think about this and I've decided to come off tour. And you were all apologetic. I know you signed me up for a couple of years and I'm, you know, finishing up after one. But I was just so full of admiration for the bravery of and courage of that decision and your rationale behind it. You'd become a father. You had, you know, you had a couple of wins on as a pro, and yet you hadn't lost your competitive edge that you immediately wanted to get back onto the amateur scene, regain your status. You talked about Walker Cup, you talked about this week and representing us, and you said, look, even though I'm an amateur, I'll still wear your brand and everything else. But coming back to the bravery of that decision, was there a weekend or a week or an event that just prompted you to say, do you know what, I think I need to, you know, to make a decision on this?
I don't think there was a particular 1 week, but yeah, there was probably a couple of months, obviously, especially when Kai was born, that I was like, Jesus, I felt really not guilty, but I felt bad leaving to go play tournaments in England or Europe or whatever and leaving Carla at home, obviously with Kai on her own. So that was obviously a big kind of wake up call, I guess. And then obviously I didn't want to be away from him either, seeing him grow up and all that sort of stuff. So there's probably a few couple of events and then all those kind of personal matters as well. So that was probably the main catalyst of it.
You had qualified at that stage as a pension
consultant?
Yeah. So was this part of maybe a plan or a backup plan? Or
yeah, I've always had an interest in it, and I met with Owen Doohan, who's the chairman of DFP and big golfer himself, and he kind of reached out and we had a meeting, and I said, look, I'm thinking about turning back amateur, and luckily, you know, he offered me a spot, and I was doing my QFAs, and I'm nearly finished now, so that was obviously in the back of my mind as well, you know, steady income and a job I really liked, close to home, and I found out then, from the RNA that, you know, I'd only have 6 months, so I kind of weighed up all them options, and I figured out I was going to be back for the West. So with all those decisions and options and everything, I think I just made the call, and it kind of worked out pretty nice, to be honest. And look, I'm delighted with my decision. I don't regret it. I gave it a go for whatever 6 years it was, and no real regrets really.
And one last question, because I'm asking this as a handicap golfer, because I know we don't you don't take shots in a week like this, but when you regained your amateur status, did you get a handicap, and what was it?
I did. I had to do 3 rounds in Baltray or County Louth, and they used professional scores as well, so I got +6. Yeah,
Okay,
so
that's it, yeah.
little tricky.
So
If I'm
600 to get 36 points in the month.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I won't be playing for any turkeys in the winter
No,
anyway.
right. Yeah, plus 6. Wow. Okay. Well, we can dream.
yeah. So that's where I'm off at the minute.
Very good.
Just on the decision to actually step back from the pro game, like, would you be open, Stuart, to maybe offering a token of advice to anybody out there this week who's looking to maybe, make that step from amateur to pro?
Yeah. If anyone wants advice, I can't speak for everyone, but it's if anyone wants to ask, yeah, of course. But like, it's very, very difficult. I'm sure you guys know. You see, it's being out on tour and stuff like that. But look, if you don't give it a go, you'll never really know, I guess, as well. So that's another aspect of it. But I think you do need to reach a certain level, if I'm being totally honest. I don't know what the benchmark would be, but you certainly need to dominate Ireland, if not, going to the international scene and stuff like that. So that'd be the least, or what's the word I'm looking for here? Benchmark as such.
Benchmark, yeah. And does that make it maybe harder, given that the WAGR is skewed more to the US collegiate events, like you mentioned earlier?
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah, I don't know how that's happened. It's all changed since 2021, I believe. So I don't know how the systems work. I didn't even get a world ranking for finishing third in the West, so I don't know how that works. But
Really?
yeah,
That's mad.
yeah, I don't understand how that works. But I know back in my day, as such, or a few years ago, if you finished top 10 event, you got one. So something to do with the powers and stuff now, but I don't know the ins and outs.
It's the first sign of being a dad I've ever spoken to you when you say, back in my day.
Like, I know, yeah. Jeez, I feel like I'm... Anyway.
You don't, I suppose the last time we sat down and we had a proper chat like this was last October, and it was quite a personal chat. It was very raw for you. You were a week after your last event. And we probably get into stuff that just... it was too raw at the time and not processed, but you don't seem like a man with any regret whatsoever.
No, I'm loving what I'm doing now, to be honest. Like,
Which is great.
yeah. Like, I go to work and I quite enjoy it. There's a good atmosphere up there. It's been very good to me, and then I still have my golf as well that I can play, and I have a lovely schedule this year. I've obviously aspirations to play Walker Cup as well, so I don't mind shying away from that. I want to play. There's no point saying I don't. So yeah. All good, yeah.
That freedom and clarity in between your ears must feel really nice.
Yeah, it does, yeah. As you said the last time, or when we spoke the last time, it was a little bit raw because I didn't know whether I'd actually go in there and like it and stuff like that, but I'm actually loving it. And they've been really supportive up there, as I said, so yeah, it's all good.
Walker Cup, you've mentioned a few times, is like, that's your Everest, it's up there. You have to knock a lot of dominoes to get to that level, to get to that, not to that level, sorry, to that, the pinnacle of where you want to be. This will go a long way this week to making not just points, but a statement as to where Stuart Grehan is.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Maybe not just this week, but...
Oh, but to start.
Of course, yeah. Like, I've had a decent enough to start, but yeah, I need to kind of do it on this is definitely a bigger stage. Obviously, guys from abroad and a few of the home guys playing that are obviously, really good players like Matt, Kaelon and the like. So, it's a huge week. So yeah, we'll just focus on the first tee shot tomorrow and go from there.
Yeah, what's it actually been like, meeting up with some of the old lads you would have played international golf with as well? You're back on the scene.
Yeah. Everyone just keeps saying welcome back. So it's it's great. Yeah, there's a bit of fun. It's definitely not as serious as professional golf. There's definitely a bit more chat, a bit more camaraderie and stuff like that. It's probably not as cutthroat either. So yeah, it's been a nice kind of friendly atmosphere, but at the same time, everyone still wants to win the event and stuff like that. So, it's been a nice welcome back from everyone so far. So yeah.
Yeah, probably like a release of the pressure valve, knowing that golf isn't the be all and end all anymore.
Yeah, like, you don't have to play for a living, I guess, which makes a big difference. I know I have a steady income coming and all that sort of stuff, so that kind of frees you up a little bit too. And not having to get a flight every week and all that sort of stuff. So, just little bits like that.
Nice to be able to have the family travel with you as well. I know Carla was down in the West and everything. I'm sure she'll be here and everybody else will be here too now.
Yeah. My parents are coming up tomorrow. Unfortunately, mother and father-in-law are away. Obviously, being members here and stuff, they would have liked to be here, but yeah, hopefully Kai gets to see a hole this week, maybe, if he's lucky. But yeah, it's nice for them to travel. I think they're going to come to a couple others, all going well. So yeah, it's cool.
What's the strategy around this golf course, actually? Like, you're well familiar with. I don't expect you to share your yardage book notes or where to go off what, but what do you think is the key to good scoring around Seapoint?
Certainly fairways. The rough can be quite gnarly here. It's not the longest course in the world. I actually don't know how firm it is compared to last week. Obviously, the weather has been quite good, so it might firm up a little bit. But I think certainly fairways. Yeah, I don't think you can bully the golf course, just with where the rough is and the lines and stuff like that. So I think that is the biggest thing. Just from my experience, I think the rough will probably continue to get thicker this week as we go on, but that's kind of my thing. Just hit as many fairways as possible because, as I said, it's not that long.
So you taking a lot of drivers out of play then this week? It's not like...
It's funny, yeah. I was just thinking about, I was chatting to Peter and Ronan, the guy who's carrying for me this week, who's a member here also. Like, my driving's probably the best part of my game at the minute. So it's funny, like, do I stick with that this week or do I lay back, even though it's my best club? So it's kind of, we're probably going to have to try and figure that out today and see if driver does go offline, is a rough ticker in them spots, of, you know, so...
is the juice worth the squeeze to work that out today?
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to try and figure that out today. But other than that, I think it's pretty straightforward once you do that here.
How proud are you, John, looking at, I suppose, logoed up beside you here like that?
No,
honestly,
amateur golf.
it is. No, it really is, and it's a nice way to be. But
look, it's his way of just saying thanks, not just to us, but Hibernia Steel, Mitsubishi Electric, and your is it DFP or whatever. Yeah. So it's just, and that was the point he made in that email. He said, "Look, I'm really happy to wear the logo." Our approach to sponsoring guys on tour was we wanted to sponsor the guys either just turning pro or on Alps or Challenge Tour, and what we've said to them all, we said it to Alex, Connor, all these, look lads, once you get onto the main DP Tour, we'll peel away and let someone else step in because you can probably command a higher fee, and also we're not necessarily looking to get eyeballs in Germany or Britain on our logo. We're really only interested in the Irish market. So we met up with Stuart probably late enough in his pro career, mostly when he moved to Termonfeckin, because where our head office was Drogheda, and so that's how we came across him. But yeah, look, we've been hearing Stuart is such a level-headed, sound, switched on guy that we are proud to see our logo. And we use the term brand ambassador, and that's what we often say to our staff. You're all ambassadors for the company. When you're talking to customers, you're an ambassador. And the same to other brand ambassadors like Gary Murphy or Lauren Walsh or Stewie here. It's just, they just represent the company well. We're proud to be associated with them, and I think they're also quite happy to be associated with us as an ambassador. So really feeling really good about that. And I do fancy his chances this week. I think there'll be. I think one thing I noticed. I
was checking out Boyle Sports myself, actually.
Yeah. Well, I think it's more. What I was going to say was just the crowds. I think there's going to be some big crowds here, particularly Sunday. I remember going to the East, the last day of the East last year in Baltray, and I just couldn't get over how big the crowds were. And in fairness, there were good crowds for the final day in Ross's Point last year, and they broadcasted live on the local radio station, which was really good. But when I came to Baltray, I thought, crikey. And it was mostly people in Baltray and Seapoint jumpers. And I thought, gee, they'll all be here next year. Yeah. And now that the weather's so fine, I think they'll be coming from Laytown, Bettystown and other places as well. So, and they'll be cheering on, not to mention Tullamore, not forgetting your roots. So with the weather and with the fields, some really good names. I think it's, I think an event like that with big crowds will bring out people like Stewie, like probably Matt as well. He's used to playing with crowds. Maybe even someone like Dylan Keating, who's from the course as well. He's just finished up college, obviously knows it. And I think people like Stewie and Dylan just thrive on crowds and that sort of buzz that they get from it. So
they will get the juices going this week, won't they?
I enjoy it. Enjoy playing in front of the people, and even one of the days in the West when the weather was nice, there was a great crowd up there. But I think you're right. I think there's really good supporters up here, both here, Baltray and Farrfield. I feel like the East every year is an incredible crowd. So, and this week with the weather being good, I don't see why it won't be the same here.
The importance of, you mentioned your caddy for the week as well. The importance of having someone on your shoulder for 4 long days of a slog, 72 holes, that knows his way around, that you trust, that you get on with. It's massive this week.
Yeah, it's very important. Someone to chat to. I always like, if I can, have someone there just to. Yeah, because you don't want you don't want to get talking to the guys you're playing against because you're trying to beat them as well.
Yeah.
You don't want to get too pally either. So yeah, he knows this place better than anyone. He probably knows every line on every green. So yeah, we'll be working in tandem, I suppose.
And will that be a big part of it, the putting side of things this week with him reading greens and stuff like that for you?
Yeah, I think I like to think I'm pretty good putter generally, but yeah, certainly with lines, the greens here are actually quite tricky to read. So having him here, or with me rather, is be a big asset, I think.
You mentioned the big crowds that hopefully come out on Sunday. I'm always fascinated by the last 4 or 5 holes here, the 2 par 3s, the 16th, and then of course the 18th par 5. It just shows like anything can happen over the last 5 holes here. It could be a great finish.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, as you say, drive. Well, I think 16. I don't know if you can get there. They might push up the tee on Sunday, but you can drive that, and then as you said, 2 par 3s and reachable par 5. Now I know the wind is going to be from the east, so they might play a little bit trickier, a little bit tougher. But yeah, as you say, anything can happen. So yeah, move a few tees up. It could be exciting finishes. You could be 3 behind before the play and win. So, or you could be 3 ahead and lose. So yeah, it's going to be good. I think scoring will be quite strong this week. I think at least double digits under par. So yeah,
which is not uncommon but not unusual. But we don't often see it because a lot of people think about Irish links golf. It's going to be a slog and it's going to be batten down the hatches, put up the umbrella, rain coming in sideways. It's going to be a nice change this week, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. I think as I said, an east wind, but it's very, very light, and the rough is not as thick as we were discussing earlier on. So yeah, I think it's nice. It's nice for an event to go 15, 16, 17 under par as well. You know what I mean? Because if guys want to turn pro, you got to be doing that every week. So it's nice to be able to go out and be able to shoot them scores instead of having to worry about just trying to make par in every single hole. So yeah, I think it'll be good.
I think that's it, lads. I think we've hit a lot of stuff there. Really excited, really looking forward to the week. I can tell by the 3 of you that are going to be here all week. No, it's all set up to be a great championship. I can't stress enough to people, it's free to come up here, and you will never get so close to such talented players like Stuart, and there's so many elite amateurs in this country that you can get right up close and personal, see how they navigate around the golf course, the shot selection, just the mental fortitude that goes into the challenge of a golf course like this. I can't express it enough how amazing it is to get so close to drama and someone chasing a national title like this. It really is a sight to behold for anybody of any level. So get the kids up here over the weekend and really get out. Seapoint is in unbelievable condition. The facilities inside for just simple little things is really on a different level to if you haven't been here in a few years. So from us here at Irish Golfer, from Flogas as well, who support us so well and support every level of Irish golf, do visit flogas.ie. Check out what they can do for you personally or your business. They're a gas bunch of lads and they do electricity.
You're good.
And Stuart, really can't wish you any more luck than we can this year. We really hope we might have a new pope by the year done, so we might have white smoke here as well, with a bit of luck. Best of luck for the week. And Ronan, best of luck in the Amam today. All right, so yeah, sure, we'll be back again next week with a full recap of the event and anything else that's happened across. So yeah, you never know, we might be sitting with a bit of silverware in front of you on Monday. Maybe. Fingers crossed.
Maybe, yeah.
So cheers for tuning in, and we'll chat to you again soon. Bye bye.